comes after North America? North American Union. North America comes after it. He says we're 20 years into it, and we now have these consolidated economies. And what comes after NAFTA, what comes after EU, is global corporate governance. That's what we need to understand. We need to see this as not simply its implementation being a failure of NAFTA economically. We need to understand that it is coming after our sovereignty, okay? That is the key thing that we need to understand. Now, there are people who are protesting it. We got worldwide protests. There's a lot of people in Germany that they had a global day of action that's planned primarily in Europe and in the U.S. I don't know that there's that many people in the U.S. that are turning out to protest this, though. Most people think that free trade is a good thing, and free trade is a good thing. This isn't free trade. This is no more free trade than the Patriot Act is patriotic. You understand? When they give these names, they give them the name of exactly the opposite of what they are, because they understand that this is managed trade, so they call it free trade. They understand the Patriot Act was absolute tyranny. That's why they gave it that acronym. So there are thousands of people that are showing up in Germany and elsewhere, but in America, we seem to not really understand the real gist of this. And again, we need to understand that this is about sovereignty as much as it is about creating an economic collapse. This explains, I believe, not only why we have open borders, but why we see the military training everywhere, just as Jakari Jackson and I were talking about in the last segment. This article that's up on Infowars.com, linked at the Drudge Report, about the exercise of National Guard right at the edge of a children's playground. We had somebody send that in to us, and that article's up there. And as Watson points out in that article, it was just last week that we had National Guard troops marching down a city street doing cadence. Why are we seeing all of these military drills? Why are they training for this in their scenarios? Why do they have bases within military bases where they train to operate in cities? They know that something is coming. They know that we're going to have an economics collapse, or we're going to have something else happen in this country. Very well could be an economic collapse brought on by these types of trade agreements. Look at how it has devastated our country after NAFTA. Imagine what's going to happen when we then make a more comprehensive trade agreement with China, for example. And of course, the way they're selling it to us is by saying, well, right now, China is writing all the rules, and I think America needs to write the rules. That's why we've got the Trans-Pacific Partnership. That's actually what the administration is saying. In the first place, why are we allowing China to write the rules? And if we're allowing China to write the rules, don't you think China might be writing the TPP along with the multinational corporations? Nothing is going to change on that. We could assert our authority, but of course we're not. The American people aren't, and Congress isn't. When I look at what they're doing, they're essentially turning over the governance already. It's already a sovereignty issue. Already they're turning everything that they should be doing over to corporate lobbyists who are writing this in secret. In the same way that they have turned over power to the bureaucracies. You know, when we look at this situation that is out in the gold mine in Oregon right now, just as we saw the situation at the Bundy Ranch in Nevada, we have bureaucracies like the BLM writing their own regulations, finding you, policing it, and finding you guilty of those regulations in their own courts. They have become their own little empires, their own little governments. And now we're allowing the corporations to do that. And of course, one of the reasons that the BLM is going in and confiscating property rights, like grazing rights, like mining rights, that have been in private hands for 150 years, going back into the mid-1800s, the reason they're doing that is because they're going to turn that over to a corporation once they get enough of these people out. It's the same thing we see at the local level all the time. Alex talked about how he saw this here in Texas. He got involved helping small property owners who were having the property confiscated because the city government was coming in and assessing huge fines on them, so much so that they couldn't pay them, so the city took their property. Once they took enough property from enough small, poor homeowners, they condemned the rest, turned it over to their buddies who built skyscrapers. I saw the same thing happening in Tampa, where I grew up. We called the mayor there, Sandy Friedman, Sandlot Friedman. She was going in and pushing low-income people out of the homes that they had owned and then turning it over to large corporations that put skyscrapers on it. That's what this is all about. That's what the Keystone Pipeline is about. That's what this Trans-Pacific Partnership and Transatlantic Partnership is about, and it's about a loss of sovereignty, not just taking us down economically.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
So the news breaks, Hillary Clinton's running for president. My buddy Mark says to me, hey, didn't Hillary support the Brady bill and the assault weapons ban? And I'm thinking, yeah, 1992 presidential campaign, oh my God, a gun grabber in the White House. So at guns80.com, they've come up with the Hillary Clinton special. They just call it the Hillary. You even get 2 30-round magazines for free, and it's only $474.95 for the whole kit. So get your AR-15 kit and tell Hillary, ha-ha, 8442-GUNS80. That's guns80.com.
The folks at My Patriot Supply get it. They know the world can be unpredictable, and there are some scary things happening right now. The only way we can make sure we maintain our independence, despite the situation, is to take control and get prepared. They've come up with a deal that will help you get prepared for anything. Right now, you can get a 4-week food supply for only $99. That's almost 50% off the online price. Call 800-274-3070 to claim yours while supplies last. Limit 2 per caller. This offer isn't available online, so take advantage of this opportunity to get prepared today. 800-274-3070 to get your 4-week food supply for the incredible price of only $99. Call 800-274-3070 right now. That's 800-274-3070 to claim yours while supplies last.
Bugging out? What if you don't make it to your bug out location? Could you survive in the woods for days, weeks, years? Learn critical survival skills for warm and cold weather from Sigma 3 expert Robert Allen in this all-new 3.5-hour survival skills DVD series produced by the Survival Summit. Learn life-saving secrets on shelter, water, fire, and food procurement. Order the DVD series in the next 48 hours at thesurvivalsummit.com. Enter promo code SURVIVAL to save 10%. That's thesurvivalsummit.com.
My name is Dell, and I live in El Cajon, California. I was concerned about my cholesterol readings because I knew that high cholesterol is related to clogging of the arteries and increases the risk for heart attack and stroke. One day, I heard an ad for Heart and Body Extract, and I was skeptical, but I decided to give it a try. Man, the numbers don't lie.
Learn the secrets of an effective, natural, 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation at hbextract.com.
Healthy elimination is essential to high energy, a cheerful mood, and prevention of disease. Some of the founders of our modern holistic health thinking state that disease begins in a toxic colon. A toxic intestinal tract is the foundation for virtually all degenerative disease, and a clean and well-moving intestinal tract is the foundation of health.
I just want to say that you folks have an amazing product. I've taken whey protein products for years, and I've never noticed the results I have with your product. I've suffered with bouts of constipation most of my life. Within a few days of taking One World Whey, I noticed a dramatic change. Also, in the past few years, I've experienced symptoms associated with diabetes. I feel horrible when I've had too much sugar, and I've been getting the foot pain as well. But I've noticed in the past week or so, I'm not feeling bad anymore, and the foot pain is gone. I'm just finishing up a 5-pound tub I ordered and just got off the phone ordering more. I love your product. Thank you.
Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworld.com.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. We're going to be joined in the next segment by Leanne McAdoo here in the studio. Before we get back to the news, I just want to let you know that we now have a sale on InfoWars Silver Bullet at InfoWarsLife.com. It's 50% off right now. We have the biggest sale we've ever had on Silver Bullet. It's down to $14.95 from $29.95. This is preparedness grade of silver. It's concentrated to 30 parts per million. That's much higher than you'll find in a lot of colloidal silvers. We've been sold out for months, but now we've got it in stock. Now is the time to stock up on this for your preparedness. And you can get it for 50% off. That's $14.95, usually $29.95 at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, we've been talking about the Trans-Pacific Partnership and where this is all headed. And, of course, as I mentioned in the first hour as well, I think it's something that we should all should hear again, is the fact that Greece is now going to go in and start taking money from all the different government departments to turn it over to paying the banks, giving it to the central bank. Forget any obligations that they had made to their citizens. They're going to turn it over to the bank. Understand that that's what's going to happen in America as well. If we go off the petrodollar, that's exactly what's going to happen here in America. We've already seen it happen in Venezuela, where the bankers bragged about their return on investment. And the only way that you see people like Alan Greenspan, the president of PIMCO, talking about how the only way they see that the EU is going to persist is if it becomes a United States of Europe in terms of turning its sovereignty over. That's the way the bankers do it. They've had these plans now for many, many decades. We pointed that out. Bilderberg, as well as the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, they've all had this goal to create these trading blocs, then use that economic leverage to get sovereignty over the states, and then to combine that sovereignty into a world governance by multinational corporations. So that's where this is all headed. That's what you need to understand, and you need to get active right now, because this is going to be in just a very, very short time. They've already passed the fast track to get this thing before Congress, where they're not going to be allowed to amend it whatsoever, and they're not going to be allowed to see it. We've had groups like EFF, Electronic Frontiers Foundation, concerned about digital rights. This is about a lot more than trade. Just within the agreement, what we've seen leaked by WikiLeaks, we know that this is about sovereignty. This is a very dangerous thing. We need to stop this, and we can stop it if people speak out about it. That's one of the things that we've seen. This is, we're talking about the change in the public's perspective and understanding about the Second Amendment. You can get change if people will stand up and educate each other and then stand up and resist this. We see it time and time again. It can happen peacefully. If we don't do it, we're going to be devastated economically. We may have a situation that precipitates martial law. But either way, we're going to be devastated economically, and we will lose our sovereignty even more. So we can reverse this, however, if people will wake up. One of the things we need to wake up about is the fact that they're trying to ram down our throats this loss of informed consent, saying they're going to take away our personal belief exemption. That's the kind of language that they use to fool you. No, it isn't a personal belief. It's my information, my informed consent. Okay, that's what it's all about. And that has to be one of the cornerstones of anything in medicine. Look at this story that came out last Friday on Infowars.com. Brain damage victims of swine flu vaccine win $63 million lawsuit. And when I looked at that, I thought, how did they get any money? Because we have a vaccine court. You can't sue the vaccine companies and get any money, remember? That was something that was put in by Ronald Reagan back in the 1980s, because there were so many lawsuits against the pharmaceutical companies because they were injuring so many people with their vaccines that they created a vaccine court. So how did these people get $63 million? Well, this is because it's in the UK, where they haven't done that. People can still sue for damages. So that's why they got that money. They pointed out that since 2003, in the last 12 years, just one pharmaceutical company, GlaxoSmithKline, has paid out over $9 billion in injuries. There you go. But you're not going to get compensated in the United States. Instead, you're going to be forced to buy a product from companies who have absolutely no liability. Doesn't that make you stop and think? Aren't you questioning what they are forcing on you and your family? You should. And you should be very concerned, because it was just about a year and a half ago that they said they were going to stop all research on antibiotics. They were going to focus exclusively on vaccines. And they are. And that makes perfectly good sense, because if they injure people with antibiotics, they have some liability. In America, if they do it with vaccines, they don't. We see that they're working with the government to create genetically engineered vaccines. They're altering the DNA of these viruses and using that as the vaccine. What could possibly go wrong? Stay with us. We're going to be right back.
on the march.